is one that I will call grouping. Now, these problems, I will solve these problems in two ways. They call it grouping. And then number 3, called grouping. So I will solve this problem in two ways. One way, we'll use a little bit more complicated form of the box and diamond. One way, we'll use the grouping. I will start by using the box just so everybody can see, but I'm going to push you to go to the grouping strategy because there will be problems that cannot be done by the box, but can only be done with grouping. But let me start by using the box. So I'm going to do problem number 2 right here at the top of part 1. So this says 12a cubed minus 9a squared plus 4a minus 3, and the goal is to factor this. So if I was using the box, which I believe is the way you all would have solved this last year, you would have drawn the box, and you would have said, okay, let me put 12a cubed here, let me put minus 9a squared here, let me put 4a here, and let me put negative 3 here. And then I would have done just like Mr. Kurtz's strategy was. He said, cover up the bottom. He said, look at the top, and what can I take out? Well, they both have a 3. This divides by 3, and this divides by 3. So I definitely take out a 3. And they both have at least 2 a's. This has 2, this has 3, so at least they both have 2. So I could put a squared here. And now I want to say 3a squared times what gives me 12a cubed? Well, it must be 4a. 3 times 4 is 12. A squared times a is a cubed. And now we're in business. 3a squared times what gives me negative 9a squared? 100. Negative 3. 4a times what gives me 4a must be 1. And just to check, 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. So I'd factor this and I'd say, okay, factored form, 4a minus 3. 3a squared plus 1. Someone.
What if it doesn't fit right? What if instead of...
Wait, okay, okay. I see what you're saying. So like, it doesn't like work?
Yeah.
They will always work for this class. All problems will work. But, so now, right, like if we said find the roots, we'll say, okay, let's set this equal to 0. And let's split each piece equal to 0. So I'll say 4a minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides. 4a equals 3. A is 3/4. That's 1. Then I need to do this piece. 3a squared plus 1 equals 0. Minus 1 on both sides. 3a squared equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 3. A squared equals negative 1/3. This is not possible. No number squared will be negative. It's not possible. So I would just write no solution. And yes, you do need to write this if one of the pieces doesn't have a solution. Luis.
Wait, can we like put the I on?
So we're only focusing on the real solutions. Good question, not the imaginary ones. Great question.
So we're no longer doing the irrational?
No,
Yes.
We're not doing irrational?
no. So any questions with this? Okay, now, this strategy of using like kind of the box when you have the 4 terms will work some of the time. It will not work all the time. It will not work all the time. And I want to show you a different strategy for solving this problem. The strategy I will show is actually called a grouping. And I want to show you that we'll get the same thing as this. What I'm about to show, there are math teachers in the Yes Prep district who don't know how to do what I'm going to do. I'm not making this up. No, there are some, not all, some people. And it is not him. He knows how to do this. I think he said that he may have even taught this method. Let's see. So let's take this. We've got 12a cubed minus 9a squared plus 4a minus 3. Factoring by grouping is the following. We look at these 2 terms right here. So the two terms with the biggest or highest exponent. And we say, what can we factor out from them? 100? Certainly a 3, because 12 divides nicely by 3. 9 divides nicely by 3. I can also factor out this. A, but how many A's?
2.
2, right? Because these have 2, this has 3, this has 2. So I can certainly take out 2 A's. So I've got 3A squared. And what's left here? 4A minus 3. How did I get that? Because 3A squared times 4A is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. A cubed. Negative 9A squared. 3A squared times negative 3. Negative 9A squared. Question? Humberto?
Well, where do you get the 1?
3 times negative 3.
What 1?
Like over here is 3A squared.
Over here? Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. And now, I look at, oh, sorry, question? And then you look at the two smaller ones and see what can I take out of there. Well, there is nothing that can be factored out of this. So I can factor out a 1 always. So I factor out the 1, and I'm left with 4A minus 3. And now we are starting to see the pattern here. 3A squared plus 1 times 4A minus 3. Same thing we had here. This is the factoring by grouping. And then, of course, we could set it equal to 0 and find the roots the same way. I won't belabor the point. So this is called factoring by grouping. So you look at the biggest 2 and see what you can take out. You look at the smallest 2, see what you can take out. These will always come to be the same. If they don't, you've made a mistake. We will not give a problem where these aren't the same. And then you're done. Boom, boom.
But then afterwards, you have to multiply.
Questions? Alejandro.
So, what I'm understanding is that 3A plus 1 is what we combine from
3A
the
squared,
Yeah, 3A squared plus 1 is what we combine from the outside.
right?
And 4A squared is because of 2 of those.
4A minus 3 is from the inside. Yeah. Humberto?
But how come you don't add those 2? The insides, like 4A minus 3 and the other one.
So like, does it just cancel out?
Yeah.
No, oh, I see, I see. So, because it's like saying this. If I had 12x, oh, I see. So you're saying like, why doesn't this become like 8A minus 6?
Yeah.
He did it here.
Right? So if I had this, I would say, okay, I can factor a y out of here and a number. So when I factor, right, I'm not, hold on, pause.
I know.
Chepe, how do I explain it?
It's like the one you distribute it and then you still have the multiplication inside. The 4A minus 3. It's like the one was never there. Because the plus, you're getting confused with them.
So it's this right here?
Yeah.
Is causing confusion, Humberto?
Yeah.
Right here? So it's like saying, oh, okay,
You're not adding them.
I think I have it now, yeah. If I had 3x plus 9x squared, you would say, oh, if I want to factor this, you would say, well, let me take out a 3 and let me take out an x. Because they both have a 3 and they both have at least one x. So you would say this is 1 plus 3x. But you did not add them first, right? You just factored it out. And then you had this times this. So you basically you're just factoring this out, 4a minus 3, and then multiplying by what you have left. David,
Would you say it's magic and like just cross it
if
off?
you want to, yeah.
That's
Okay, so now one last strategy. So let's, yeah, Mitzi, let's pause the video.